radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. How you doing? How you doing? Today's Wednesday, April 20th, 2022. For KJCR, the Game Changer, and NX Networks, I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Let's do this, man. Tonight, we have very special guest. Caroline Cory joins us. We're going to be talking about the science of research behind UFOs and UAPs. She's got a new film coming out. It is called A Tear in the Sky. We will talk about that tonight, too, as well. And tomorrow night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. All right. Coming up, I will be speaking at the X Conference, May 13th and 14th, 2022. I'll be speaking on Friday night. It's an online event. Full info at unxnetwork.com. I'll also be hosting Disclosure Fest, June 18th. That is a Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. at the Los Angeles State Historic Park in downtown Los Angeles, California. Just go to disclosurefest.org. I will also be in Egypt with Billy Carson, our guest last night, this October. Space is very limited, everyone, so please visit forbiddenknowledge.com right now for the complete schedule and info. Links to everything is in the description box below, on our social media, and over on our website. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. The sandbox is hashtag F2B on Twitter. We don't bite. It's live. It's right in front of me right here. And any questions tonight or any other night, hashtag F2BQ, Fade to Black Questions, F2BQ. And it's also right there in Twitter. So let's get straight to the breaking news. And I'm gonna do a little something. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna move this over here. I'm gonna go like this so I can do this. And a beautiful new image from the Hubble Space Telescope captures a pair of fluttering wings produced by an ongoing collision between two distant galaxies. Here is the shot. Look at that. The galactic wings are part of the VV689 system, nicknamed the Angel Wing, which can be found in the night sky in the constellation of Leo. According to a statement by the European Space Agency, the distinct wings look like the product of a cataclysmic encounter between two galaxies that have been in the process of merging for billions of years. Look at that image. That is absolutely incredible. And here's another fascinating fact about this image. Everything you see in the background is another galaxy. Those are not stars. That is an incredible image. Everything you see there is another galaxy. If Hubble just zoomed in and zoomed in and zoomed in, it would be nothing but galaxies. Apparently in water. All right. Tesla is back in the news because Tesla Tesla has posted, are you ready? Record profits once again. Yeah, man. And here's the deal. There's Elon. Overcoming supply chain issues that have dogged just about everybody in the auto industry. But they did all of this to blow away Wall Street's forecast for the company for the first quarter of 2022. Still, even with supply chain issues, the company earned adjusted income of $3.7 billion, much higher than the $2.6 billion forecast by analysts, all of them surveyed by Refinitiv. Now, it is also more than triple the $1.1 billion it earned on that basis a year ago, and 30% higher than the previous record of $2.9 billion it posted in the fourth quarter of last year. The revenue of $18.8 billion also easily topped forecasts, rising 6% from the fourth quarter sales and 81% from the year ago total. This is incredible. Demand for its cars was so strong that the day's supply of vehicles it had available for customers fell to only 3 days. Absolutely incredible. Tesla, incredible. Yes, that's right. Elon Musk is the world's richest person. And Netflix not doing so hot. Talking about Tesla like that. Well, yesterday, Netflix reported that it lost subscribers for the first time in more than a decade. The news shocked Wall Street and sent shares plummeting 35% this morning, wiping out $50 billion in market cap. And this was after the company's stock had dropped more than 40% year to date. Simply put, Netflix's terrible 2022 has now become disastrous. Netflix also said it lost 200,000 subscribers in the first quarter of 2022. They expected to add 2.5 million new users in the first 3 months of this year. Pulling out of Russia alone cost the company 700,000 subscribers. But even without that, the company still would have missed its own expectations by nearly 2 million subscribers. Wow. And they are still considered the king of streaming, but whoo, man. I guess it's time to buy Netflix stock while it is so cheap. And now, are you ready? Are you ready? Everybody, I want to introduce you to Toby Keith. This is Toby Keith. That's right. No, not the singer, but a Chihuahua from Florida who just broke the record for the world's oldest living dog. Check him out. Toby Keith, born on January 9th, 2001. Toby Keith was, by the way, his name, it's one word, Toby Keith. It's one word. Toby Keith was 21 years and 66 days old on March 16th when the Guinness Book of World Records confirmed that, yes, he is the oldest dog alive. Toby Keith's day consists of, he gets his morning walk, and then he returns home and he gets his favorite snack, a slice of turkey. Then he goes for a few more short walks, and then he lies around for the rest of the day, doing pretty much nothing, as it should be. Now, according to Guinness, the oldest dog ever recorded was an Australian cattle dog that lived 29 years and 5 months. Toby Keith has got 8 more years of the good life to live to break that record. And I'm going to keep you posted. There you go, Toby Keith. Check out my man, Toby Keith. That's absolutely incredible. All right, let's get this show cracking. On this day in history, 1978, Soviet aircraft force a Korean Airlines passenger jet to land on a frozen lake in the Soviet Union after the jet veers into Russian airspace. 2 people died during that crash landing on that frozen lake. Fader fact. Okay, we're going to be talking about science all night tonight, and I've got more to come in just a bit. But here's your fader fact. The distance of Earth from the sun is 108 times the diameter of the sun. The distance between the Earth and the moon is also 108 times the diameter of the moon. Dun, dun, dun. Right? Moonfall. I'm just saying. Emmerich, that's what I'm saying. All right. Happy 420, everybody. I saved that for now. And I don't puff. I know that some of you think I do. I don't. I haven't puffed in a long time. I puffed enough in my life to last forever. Been about 20 years. Been about 20 years since I puffed. I'm going to guess. I'm going to say 2000, 2001. Yeah, something like that. It's been a long time, but happy 420. All right. Tonight, very special guest Caroline Cory joins us. We're going to be talking the science of research behind UFOs and UAPs and how she gets it done. And she's also got a new film coming up. And it's going to premiere on May 3rd, which is in 2 weeks. You can pre-order the film. And I'll get links up in social media for that. And I think we already have it. It's called A Tear in the Sky. Tomorrow night's another Fader night with open lines all night long. And here's the deal. Got a new setup. Everybody knows that. We got the new video. It's all happening in here. Tomorrow night's going to be the first Fader night with this setup. And that's going to be interesting. Why? Because the phones are over here on this screen. They're no longer in front of me. They're over here. I've got a microphone in my way. I've got to figure out a way to see things. And I like the microphone on this side instead of this side. I should have done that a long time ago. But now I've got an issue. Yeah, we'll get it figured out. Now it's time for me to hit this River Moon Coffee. All of the links for our sponsors, for all of my events, are in the description box below. Everything is also over at jimmychurchradio.com. And we continuously post things up in social media and Facebook and stuff and Twitter. So go and support the show. Go visit all of our sponsors like River Moon Coffee. Rivermoonwellness.com. Fade to Black blend. Yeah. All right. UFO research. Need some coffee for this one. UFO research, or even ufology. Whatever you want to call it, right? That's fine. Traditionally, what has it consisted of over the last 70 or so years? All right. Now, I want you to think about that. Put that in your mind and think about what UFO research has been. All right. Now, let's take the last 4 or 5 years off of the table. First, let's just start right there. Let's take the last 4 or 5 years off of the table. And next, let's kind of start at the beginning, because it precedes 1947, of course, right? There's been sightings and documentation of sightings way before 1947. But let's just kind of start right there. Let's go with 1947, with projects Sign, Grudge, and Blue Book. All were, of course, the Air Force. And Sign was basically around for the year 1947 into 1948. All right. And then it was followed by Project Grudge in 1949. And Grudge hung out for a couple of years, and then it was either relabeled, all of them, Signed, Grudge, and Blue Book, probably all basically the same things, right? But nonetheless, Project Blue Book in 1952 kicked off, and that lasted until 1969. No real science. No real science here. Just collecting reports, taking notes, talking to witnesses, looking at images, debunking, and moving on. Right? Wash, rinse, repeat. Over and over again for 20 years. None of it was real research. There wasn't any science involved. Now, although we had J. Allen Hynek's great mind and knowledge, no question about that. But he was never put in a position to set up shop, right? To pull in experts, to study the data, to test, to measure. Now, sure, he wanted to, but that wasn't what the Air Force was all about with Blue Book. Okay? They were about explaining it away. And that was a big chunk of what you would call UFO research. All right? Think about that. Now, we have Enrico Fermi. And Enrico, with his paradox, the Fermi paradox, that there must be a lot of alien life out there. But where is everybody? Right? Okay. Now, the paradox has stirred a lot of conversation over the years. Books have been published. It's been in interviews and documentaries and always talked about in certain scientific circles. And it was always, and still is, a great thought experiment. Right now, I have at least 5 books, 4 that are in constant rotation, just on the Fermi paradox. Isaac Arthur, an excellent presentation, well, actually over and over again, over at Science and Futurism with Isaac Arthur. And he covers the Fermi paradox well, right? And we get all kinds of answers and contradictions. Not everybody agrees. If you look at, including the 5 books that I have, and Isaac Arthur's, and I bring up Isaac because he is so comprehensive in his detail on the Fermi paradox. These answers, these contradictions, because it's a paradox, there are, in the books that I'm reading right now, 70, 80, 90 different classifications. So it takes a long time to get through the Fermi paradox. All right? But is it research? Is it research? These are scientific circles. These are brilliant minds. Well, it's our circles too. I'm not a scientist and I discuss it all the time. But in scientific circles, very brilliant people bring it up. I talk about Sam Harris all the time. I talk about Brian Greene all the time. And there's a really great interview with Sam Harris and Brian Greene that you can check out online. And right in the middle of this, like 3 hours long, and right in the middle of it, Sam Harris turns to Brian Greene. He gets it wrong, though. He goes, and what about the Fermi problem? Right? Brian goes, well, I think it's kind of framed the Fermi paradox. But they go into that for 60 minutes. Right? So there's a lot of very intelligent, a lot of brilliant minds that discuss this. But is that research? No. It's just a conversation. Let's go back to what I started talking about in the beginning, UFO research, right? Ufology. What's the research that has gone into this? Now, the closest that we have gotten to some sort of real science, and I haven't talked about SETI, I haven't talked about Avi Loeb. Haven't gotten to that yet. But the closest that we've gotten to real science that applied to UFO research is probably the Drake equation. Drake equation's been around for a long time, and now 60 years, by the way, 61 years. And the Drake equation is an argument used to estimate the number. It's a problem. It's an algorithm, right? Used to estimate the number of active communicative extraterrestrial civilizations in the Milky Way. That's what it is. We talk about the Drake equation all the time. But what is it? It is pretty much the closest we've gotten to science. And I remember the first time that I read the Drake equation, I was like, wow, that's impressive. We've got scientists out there looking at the UFO problem, the UFO question. The equation was formulated in 1961 by Frank Drake. Now, not for purposes of quantifying the number of civilizations, but as a way to stimulate scientific dialogue, that conversation that I've been talking about. All of this at the first scientific meeting of the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, known today as SETI. Now, the Drake equation itself, I don't have it up on the screen. Somebody else can post it. But it's N equals R times FP times NE times FL times FI times FC times L, where N, right, is the number of civilizations in our galaxy with which communication might be possible, right? You know, which are on our current past light cone, right here. And that's N. R in the equation is the average rate of a star formation in our galaxy. Okay? And these numbers now are coming in. Modern. This was written in 1961. FP, the fraction of those stars that have planets. NE, the average number of planets that can potentially support life per star that has planets. Now, we know that every star has planets. FL, the fraction of planets that could support life that actually develop life at some point. FI, the fraction of planets with life that actually go on to develop intelligent life or civilizations. FC, the fraction of civilizations that develop a technology that releases detectable signs of their existence into space. And then you have L, the length of time for which such civilizations release detectable signals into space. Now, where are we today? With modern numbers plugged into the Drake equation, depending on where you get them from, we get somewhere between 15 million to 30 billion intelligent civilizations out there in the Milky Way. All right? When this was first formulated in 1961, all guesswork, by the way. And most of these numbers were all imaginary. We had no clue. We didn't know that there was another planet out there, let alone every star has a planet, right? But plugging in modern numbers, it now spits out on the far side 30 billion intelligent civilizations out there in the Milky Way. But is this science? Not really. It's as close as we've gotten. It's another thought experiment. This is cause of discussion. Yeah, and it's a fun one for sure. I love doing it. The other part of UFO research is the photo and video analysis that goes on, and most of it has come from members of our own community. Sure, some have serious credentials and professional backgrounds, and they can analyze video and images and triangulate. They've applied some of the best software available as we move along, and also they've applied some great math. But serious research from a university or government agency, well, it's been done. It's just not public yet. Most of what we know today has come from eyewitnesses and various reports that have been filed over the years. There's all those different civilian research groups that have come and gone. And today we have MUFON, and most of it is centered around MUFON today. And MUFON has certainly tried, at least this is their stated goal, to apply the scientific method to their database of accounts, testimony, photos, and video, which leaves us to where we are now, the last 4 or 5 years. Now it seems real research is going on. We have the Department of Defense, we have the UAP Task Force, we have the Senate Intelligence Committee focusing on this, and we have Avi Loeb with the Galileo Project and Harvard University. We've got that going for us. And we've also got Caroline Cory. Caroline has taken it upon herself to put a team together to apply the science, to collect the data. This isn't the first time that she has done this with her new film, A Tear in the Sky. She has applied the scientific method to the paranormal, to the supernatural, and to superhumans, and how some of this stuff happens. Telekinesis, right? Remote viewing. And this is what we need today. And the last 4 or 5 years have been some of the most exciting in the history of ufology. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, Caroline Cory is with us. We're going to be talking about the science of UAP and UFO research. Her new film, A Tear in the Sky, is now available for up, and it premieres May 3rd. So we're going to be doing all of that tonight. Tomorrow night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer and UnX Networks. And I'll be right back with our guest, Caroline Cory. Stay right there.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from Rivermoon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark, with wild notes of pecans and chocolate, with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch, roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all Rivermoon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Do you have an interest in the paranormal? Then you'll love the unxnetwork.com. The X is your streaming audio and video for everything supernatural, strange, and mysterious, like UFOs, Bigfoot, ghosts, and so much more. From hosts like Jimmy Church, Whitley Strieber, Micah Hanks, and Christina Gomez. Visit the unxnetwork.com show page for a complete list of all the paranormal programs you'll find on the X. Be sure to follow us on Twitter for updates at KUNXDB. Follow our Facebook group, UNX Network. Find the podcast on Spotify, iHeart, Audible, and Apple Podcast. It's time. It's new. It's the X.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Manson. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Caroline Cory joins us. We're going to be talking a little bit about her new film, A Terror in the Sky. We're going to be talking about the science and research behind UFOs and UAPs and other phenomena. She's a filmmaker. She's a futurist, international speaker, and the visionary author of best-selling books on consciousness and quantum healing. As a child and throughout her life, she has had numerous otherworldly encounters, which led her to become deeply connected to spirituality, the study of consciousness, and the mechanics of the universe. In 2010, she founded Omnium Media and has also written, directed, and produced short and feature animated films and completed several feature and TV pilot screenplays. In addition to writing and producing, she has appeared as a guest expert at major conferences and on television shows, and including Ancient Aliens. All of her links are up. Gods Among Us, Superhuman Film, and of course, CarolineCory.com and ATerrorinthesky.com, where you can go right now and pre-order the film. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one and only Caroline Cory.
Hey, Jim.
How you doing?
I'm awesome. Wow, what an introduction. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. We've been hanging out and talking, for years. And before we get into tonight's discussion, over the last couple of weeks, consciousness has been coming up on the show, and more of the scientific side, the physics side. It's one of my favorite subjects to bring up, and the fight that science puts up against it, right? They just don't want to discuss consciousness. For you, how close are we? Do you think that one day we're going to be able to measure, to quantify consciousness?
Well, we are quantifying consciousness. We're actually quantifying the effects of consciousness. We're not quantifying consciousness because consciousness itself is unquantifiable. Because, oh my God, we're starting really, really deep right now. Shall I keep going?
Yeah.
Well, everybody defines consciousness differently, but for me, consciousness is the substance. It's a fundamental substance of all of existence. In other words, from consciousness, everything emerges. And so if that is the case, then from consciousness, you and I emerge, the planets emerge, the physical universe emerges. And so when we are trying to measure something with physical instruments, something that is before, if there is such a thing as before and after the physical world, you just can't do that because the physical instruments came from consciousness. It's all part of it. Does that make sense?
Well, see, and from a physics standpoint, I think that one of the reasons why science and physicists are so scared of consciousness is they feel that everything's got to be measured. Right. It's got to go into a lab. We've got to be able to do this, and we've got to apply math to it and figure out what's going on. And until we can do that, we don't know what consciousness is, and we're not going to waste our time with it. This is the line in the sand that they've given the rest of the world. And here's the other part. You're right. You can quantify it because those physicists know that they can think, they can laugh, they can even ponder the significance of the smallest of particles and the vastness of space and apply numbers to that. They know that they can think about all of this stuff. So they know consciousness is a real thing, but they just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I just went through this recently in this very last film that I did that you've been talking about. So what happens is we were having these discussions that what is behind consciousness or what is consciousness and things like that. And the reaction is that this green screen is acting strange, right?
Yeah, you're paying attention to the chat room.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just like this ghostly person.
Yeah, don't worry about the chat room.
Yeah. So anyway, so what happens is that they tell us that we don't have enough evidence, we don't have enough data. Therefore, let's not go there. They literally say we can't go there because we don't have enough data. So it's kind of fascinating to me because science and scientists are supposed to be going to into the topics that we need to understand, so I just went through it recently with some scientists, and you just can't even say the word C, the C word. You can't talk about it. So
yeah, and here's another point that I kind of buy into this, and that some physicists suggest that there's a little piece of consciousness in every particle, and then once you get a mass of particles together, this builds up, and then boom, you get the mass inside your head, between your ears, and consciousness is there, but it's just chemistry. There's nothing magical about it. And there's a part of me that says that may be true, but I'm not so sure, because once particles shut down, consciousness seems to continue, doesn't it?
Exactly. And that's what I was saying. Consciousness is fundamental. In other words, consciousness is the particle itself. Makes up the particle itself. So you can't separate the two, and it's not outside the particle, and it's not a particle coming together. Everything is consciousness, is a form of consciousness. So the mind is a form of consciousness. The physical body is a form of consciousness. The particles of the galaxies and the planets are a form of consciousness. So it's a different type of consciousness, but everything is made of this fundamental substance. That's why when we say we're all connected, because we all came from that fundamental substance.
Now, we can tie this directly into UFOs and UAPs. And I say this not because of what I've read or what I've heard or eyewitness testimony or even CE5s, that every time, not every time, but pretty much, that I want to see something and I project that out there, I see something. When I'm not thinking about it, I can look up in the sky and nothing shows up. But if I pop out a positive vibe, and I'm not talking about, oh, my ET brothers, will you come and visit me, show yourself? No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be cool if, and then all of a sudden, bap. And I think that there is a connection there. And that is something else. You've been working on this, but I think that this is something else that science would be interested in.
You would think, right? The problem is it's hard to prove. You have to do really like control groups, and you have to be able to repeat it over and over under certain conditions. So that's how science works. And if you can't do it exactly like that, they say you can't prove it, therefore it's not real, or it's a coincidence. And that's because they don't understand the nature of mind itself, the nature of consciousness itself. Yeah.
Staying on, I don't do this often, but I'm going to do this now. I'm going to bring in this comment. And because this was my next question, could it be that we are all just quantum entangled from the point of the Big Bang? And this is what consciousness is. I think that is, if entanglement, this is where physics needs to get their act together. Because they want us to understand entanglement, right? They're doing their best. And it's a pretty fascinating subject, right? This is real science fiction happening. But if entanglement is real, connected to the other side of the universe in real time, then wouldn't that be a way to communicate with two conscious minds or more?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to you and me, but they're talking about physical particles. One particle on this side is going to exchange properties with another particle on this side without actually coming in physical contact together. They're still talking. Yeah, I know. I mean, you would think that the mind, if you look at it, even though they're talking about physical particles, but you would think that as a principle, it should hold for everything. If that's possible for two physical particles, then it could be possible that, two people who are not in physical contact could also exchange information. Since we are physical beings, we have physical bodies. Why is it not possible that this physical body talks to this other physical body without touching each other?
Now, have you done, well, I know you're going to say yes, but have you done a successful CE5 where you've gone out and gone through the processes and then the sky lights up?
Oh, all the time. In fact, that's what saved me in this last film. I don't call it C5 per se. I have my own way of doing it, but absolutely. And in fact, sometimes I know that it's not going to work. So sometimes we go out there and then I kind of communicate and I feel like it's not going to happen, or it's not the right time or something like that. And so I know for a fact I've done it, like I do it all the time. So I'm 1,000% sure that there is a connection. In fact, in my last film, as you know, in Superhuman, that's all we've demonstrated.
Yeah.
The measurable connection between mind and matter. There's no question.
Right. Now, let's stay on this for a second because we're going to be talking about all of this tonight as we get deeper into UFOs and UAPs. But in your films, I know I've talked to you about this before, but we need to revisit this. In your films, whether it's telekinesis or remote viewing, whatever it may be, reading, blindfolds on and reading books, is that entanglement? That right there, and it's fun. Is that what is allowing this to happen?
I think so. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But again, not the way science explains it, because they're talking about physical matter only. But to me, it's the exact same thing. Because again, if consciousness is fundamental, it means it makes up everything. And if it makes up everything, then everything is interconnected at the base.
Now,
so if it is connected, so there is an umbilical cord, so to speak, with every aspect of life. So in that way, when I'm trying to connect with something else, even though I'm not in physical contact with it, but it's like underneath, we are already connected. That is entanglement, 100%.
when I'm just going to share a little private thing with our audience without getting into too much specifics. You and I went out to dinner by ourselves, and we sat for, I don't know what, maybe 3 hours, right?
Probably more.
Probably more. And I said to Caroline, everybody, about halfway through the meal, I said, "Are you reading my mind? Do you have that ability to read my mind?" Because Caroline was answering and asking questions ahead of my thought. And it was starting to bug me, right? So I said to her, I said, are you reading my mind right now? And you kind of gave me this Cheshire cat smile. Now I'm going to ask you the same question. Do you have that ability? Do you have the gift that allows you, remote viewing or some forms of telekinesis and the power of thought?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's how I started really when I was 5 years old. I mean, that's when I realized that I was basically communicating telepathically, spontaneously. And by the way, everybody can do that. I'm nothing special. I think the only thing is people just don't know how to do it. So let's just put this out there. But yeah, and it's not like what people think, like I'm inside your mind. I mean, I kind of am, but and I'm kind of like reading see what happens. Can I tell the 5-year-old story?
Yes, I would love to hear it.
Okay, so what happened is that when I was 5 years old, I was just there, and all of a sudden there's these beings, these consciousness, this group of intelligent beings that just showed up, and we started communicating telepathically. I could hear them, they could hear me. We were just like talking, of course, not in English or French, just like thoughts. And of course, I'm 5 years old, and I thought, oh, like it's no big deal. Everybody does that. And so I could understand everything they were saying, and they were hearing me as well. And they told me to notice what my brain was doing to be able to do this exchange. And so I kind of like concentrated. I was like, yeah, I kind of wanted to know how. Of course, I didn't know. But what I did was I focused my intention, my wanting to do that. And so that stayed with me for the rest of my life, so that I could eventually learn how to tap into information that was outside of me. And of course, that's how I develop methodologies for healing or for remote viewing, because it's the same principle. If you are able to, because everything is information, it's information. The DNA is information. So you are tapping into information that is outside yourself. Your brain is outside my being. And so once you know how to do it for one thing, then you can apply it for everything. In the case of thoughts, it's sometimes you don't necessarily hear words. Sometimes it's words, but sometimes it's just the kind of the concept. Like, for example, I'm hungry right now, or I'd like to have a drink right now, so you may not have said, I want to have a drink, but it's that desire, the thought of wanting to have a drink.
Could your 5-year-old mind change the menu in the school cafeteria for the next week?
Sometimes I would do crazy stuff like that.
Yeah. Your mom is like, I don't know why I want to cook you mac and cheese right now. Strangest thing. And but and part of that, the ability to manifest, to look at your future, to change your path, to change your life. All of this is the power of thought.
Exactly. And people don't realize that that is how they're creating. They're not paying attention that their thought is kind of like an electrical charge. You're putting it out there, and it's, interacting with other particles of energy, and you're moving things, but we don't see any of that. I mean, I could see the subtle energy, so I could see everything that was happening, but most people can't see any of this, so they don't understand the mechanics of it and the mechanism. And of course, science tells us there's nothing there. So
Right. Which is, in your journey, you wanted to figure out a way to bring this to the masses, to pull into science, to pull into a lab, and start to look at this so the rest of the world can understand it. And this is no longer a crazy community and tinfoil hats and all of that. And that started your filmmaking journey with this, which I think each one of your films is half science, right? It's half science and the other half is the phenomena.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the idea, because doing this my whole life and working with so many people around the world, training people, working with people, what happens is that you get validation, like you do something and you get validation. And in the case of telekinesis, you're focusing your consciousness specifically in a way, and you're affecting the pH of water, or you're moving an object. I mean, this is measurable. These are real effects that you can measure. And this is validation. So when you get validation after validation after validation, at one point you say, okay, wait a minute, even though people may not know how it's working, but it is working. Because look, first it's this, now it's that. First there's the blood test that shows this, and now it shows that. I mean, it's the X-ray shows this, now it shows that. So having all this validation gave me the extra kind of encouragement or the confidence to talk about it more in the mainstream. And then the way to do that is to bring science, is to say, hey, it's not just woo-woo stuff. Look, this is the science. There is something, a part of it that we can measure. Here it is. And so I feel like that's been my signature kind of as a filmmaker. Instead of just talking, I want to show, and I want to demonstrate, and I want to validate with metrics, with anything I can that's scientific.
With that, let's take a moment here and check out the trailer for A Tear in the Sky. And here,
mankind is an insatiable curiosity. Insatiable. What is that? Nobody knows. The phenomenon.
Nobody's ever done this as far as I know.
It's a huge amount of work, a huge amount of data and equipment. That has never been done.
Whatever this is more complex than we could ever imagine.
This is a first in the field of ufology.
The variety of devices we're bringing as a team to study the phenomenon covered an entire spectrum of different technologies in real time.
That moment shook me to the core because I knew my life was about to change again.
I think we're going to have like a couple of really, really good spots.
When I hear that you've assembled a team of top scientists using state-of-the-art equipment, I say to myself, it's about time.
This is an unidentified, unclassified new phenomenon.
Wow, Tic Tacs. Maybe Tic Tacs.
Maybe.
Caught on our cameras. Yep. That's incredible.
Crazy. It isn't crazy, it's crazy. It's crazy.
We can go from body heat to very cold, like about minus 62 Celsius or minus 80 Fahrenheit. Wow. We will be transmitting data up to 800 terahertz in frequency. Our highest technology is up around 500 gigahertz.
I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to seeing what you've uncovered.
we're triangulating and converging at 2 points, the same object.
It's fading. It's gone. It's gone. It's friggin' gone.
Something over, Catalina. We need you up here.
We could be heading towards the biggest "see I told you so" in history.
That's what we need, the smoking gun that'll clinch it. That once and for all will settle the debate. No ifs, ands, or buts. And in the process, rewrite all of human history.
Oh my God, you guys. Is this the wormhole? It's insane.
There it is. May 3rd is the premiere. And we'll come back after the break. I wanted to ask you this, Caroline. Did you see the news here in Los Angeles that broke on Friday, our local news here, about the 4.0 earthquake in Catalina that never happened, and they don't know what caused it?
I actually missed that.
Actually, it was 14 miles southeast of Catalina, right in where you shot this film, and south of San Pedro. And so the USGS, they do the alert, 4.0 earthquake at 9:50 a.m., and they gave the epicenter, and then they said, no, all of the shake sensors, that's what it's called, the shake network, in the water and underground did not pick up an earthquake. It was on the surface of 4.0, and they don't know what caused it. Interesting. When I thought of you immediately, and I knew that we were doing the show, and I just thought to myself, once again, right, Catalina Island, between Catalina and the coastline, it's happening, and it's been very consistent there over the last few decades. I'll send you the press release later on, and you can check it out and read through it. And so, how do you recall a quake? Well, they did. They recalled. They actually
That's so funny.
They don't know what caused it, but it wasn't an earthquake. Something 4.0. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Caroline Cory. We're discussing everything tonight. It is the science and research behind UFOs and UAPs, the physics. We're going to get into all of it. And we'll be right back after this short break. This is Fade to Black on the UNX and Game Changer Networks. Ray Hobbs. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us. We will be right back after this short break.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB EX.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv is the fastest growing and one of the most watched networks in the world. I would like to personally invite you to check out our expanding library of TV, film, lectures, and special presentations. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv has over 6,000 videos covering lost history, health, UFOs, spirituality, and our future. We are committed to our community, and with my personal invitation, you can, right now, get your free 30-day membership at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Your own library of information starts today at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Caroline Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Caroline is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Caroline's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com.
Hi, Race Hobbs with the X. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you have an interest in unexplained phenomena like ghosts, Bigfoot, and UFOs. And by now, you know that we have our own X blog, the UnX newsletter, and the UnX magazine quarterly. But most of you don't know that we have started our very own paranormal conference. And this year, for safety, this 2-day XCon will be virtual, so you can attend from the comfort of your home. XCon presenters include Whitley Strieber, Micah Hanks, Margie Kay and Preston Dennett, Lisa Martin and Wayne Lawrence, Lee Spiegel, Debbie Zagelmeyer, Dan Terry, Kate Grabowski, and Ray Hernandez. There will also be a live paranormal investigation by the Riverside, Iowa Paranormal team. So come hang out with us in the safety of home as we set out to explain the unexplained Friday, May 13th and Saturday the 14th, 2022. And tickets are on sale now. Go to unxnetwork.com. That's unxnetwork.com.
Hello, I'm Catalina, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Race Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers, and you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Caroline Cory is with us. Researcher, author, filmmaker. It's so funny. She has to have everything so perfect. She's a director. And it's just so funny. Now, Caroline, before the break, as we watch the trailer, I'm reminded of one, again, we keep talking about fundamentals. One fundamental question that we need to start off with. What can we do differently, not only as a community, but reaching further to better research UFOs and UAPs?
I think, first of all, people need to come together more. Because to be honest, I see a lot of kind of confusion, between different belief systems and criticism or whatever. And I think as a community, it would be helpful to share more and to be more like a community. I think that's lacking a little bit in what I'm noticing more and more. And keep it at that level of science. That's the reason why I made the film. I mean, I said, let's not just keep rehashing the same stories. Let's just go out and do it right. So I'm hoping with this film, it will bring the community together and maybe share more the ways that we can continue, perfecting this research.
Are you going to share the data that you collected with the team to make this film?
Yeah, so what happens is that the UAPX team has a lot more data. We collected hundreds of hours of footage, camera, all sorts of devices were going on at the same time 24/7. So it's literally hundreds and hundreds of hours of data. And we only picked, the few events, obviously, that were the most significant for the purpose of the film. But after the film is released, and there's quite a bit of data in the film, obviously, after it is released, they're going to also release publicly all this data. And the scientists are going to talk about, they're going to even write a peer review, a scientific paper for peer review, which is amazing. That hasn't been done.
Now, the other approaches, we have Avi Loeb with the Galileo project, with the support of Harvard, which is that's a really, really, really big deal. And I'm going to be very interested. I've spoken to him quite a bit about this, about his approach into collecting the data. How you collect it is important. And then how you turn around and review the data. There's so many different spectrums that you can look into. There's radiation considerations as well as, and of course, full spectrum video and telemetry that you combine, and then triangulation and air speeds and where these objects potentially came from and where they are going to. That's a lot of data. How do you collect this, and what kind of instruments are used?
Yeah, I mean, I think the scientists can talk more about the technical aspects of it, but I can tell you that, for example, what we wanted to do in our investigation in the film that we did, of course, we had the regular CCD cameras that everybody has, but then we wanted to have, of course, the night vision that most people have as well. But then David Mason, who is it was a blessing. It was amazing to have him on the team. He owned all this equipment, and part of that was the FLIR cameras. Now the FLIRs, I don't know how much people know. Each FLIR camera is like $50,000, and we're talking about an entire, it's a whole different range of frequency of infrared. And so we had 8 of those to cover the entire sky, because usually people go out and just have one angle. The camera has that much angle, within its own, the focal point that you can reach with one camera. So we had to put a bunch together side by side to have this kind of to look at the whole range, the entire sky at the same time. So this is only from an optical point of view, but then you want to measure radiation. So there are different types of radiation devices that we had as well, using different software, because when you're trying to do something scientifically, what you're looking for is correlation, time correlations, timestamps. So, which means that something appears on one camera at 9:29, but then something else showed up exactly at the same time on this device and that device and this other device, and they all have different types of software and technology. So the fact that all of them registered the exact same thing at the exact same time, now you're talking science. You're talking about correlation, time correlations, that is data that can now be studied.
Now, another part of this is that you need, it doesn't matter who's doing this, whether it's your team or somebody else. When you've got radiation data points, and it's not, you don't have 10, you don't have 50, you have 10,000, right? It is registering constantly. You have got, and it doesn't matter who is doing this collection, you've got all of that, and you combine that, you have to have humans looking at the data and making sense of it. And then you combine that with all of the video footage. You have to look at this. You have to have humans on this interpolating what they are seeing, right? I mean, there isn't an automated way to go about this.
No, that's the idea. I mean, it takes hundreds of hours to study the data. One of the scientists on the team, Matthew Shadagis, I always pronounce his name wrong. Sorry, Matthew. He actually, because he can also write software, he came up with a software to be able to go through the FLIR footage very quickly. So in other words, it's not AI, because who's looking into this phenomenon? You know what I mean? Who's creating the software and technology for UFOs? It's kind of like we have to create these things as we go along. So Matthew, for example, wrote this script so that we could go through the hundreds of hours of FLIR very quickly. But even with that, you have the radiation data, and you have magnetometers going on, and you have all kinds of other devices going on. And so what happens is that, I mean, I was so lucky, Jimmy, and blessed that, I mean, we shot for 5 days only. What are the odds that in those 5 days we're going to actually capture data, I mean, actual UFOs, right? With all of these devices correlating, no, we've never done it before. No one's ever done anything like this. So we have nothing to go by. We can't study somebody else's research and say, look how they've done it and they've done it, and so let's go out and do it this way. I mean, we were the first one to figure it out, So the fact that we got actual UFOs registered on our camera, multiple cameras and multiple radiation, multiple data collected at the same time was literally a miracle. And so, but this was just for the film. Then the hundreds of hours that are left, they're still going through it. I think it's going to take them months and months.
It would have to. If you have that many FLIR cameras running at the same time, each one is looking at a different section of the sky.
Right.
And that's insane to me. Now, what about somebody? Well, Michio Kaku's a pretty good starting point. But another scientist or astrophysicist to come in that has nothing to do with UFOs, doesn't consider that, and bringing them in to look at the data to see what it says to them.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the idea. I think the idea of doing this research first and going through the data is to then invite, that's why they're writing a scientific paper, to invite other scientists to say, hey, this is the way we set it up. This is the way we went about it. This is all the data. This is what it means to us. What do you think? So, I mean, that's the idea. But already in the film, there's quite a bit that we show. I mean, it's a good amount of very, very compelling, crazy stuff, actually.
I want everybody to go and see the film, and I'm certainly not going to be a spoiler of any kind, because I've seen the film and I've seen specific pieces of footage over the last few months, and even I was at the edge of my seat and wondering how it got all put together. That being said, you captured something that, in my opinion, I've never seen anything like that. And I remember my reaction, and you were there. The first time that I saw it, what came out of my mouth was, "What am I looking at?"
Yes.
What?
And you know what? That's what Shatner said also.
And here's why. We've all seen things, right? We've all seen things. we don't necessarily know where they came from or how they got there or where they go to, right? Because all of this happens, and sometimes it's all very quickly. And some of it is beyond your vision. So you don't get a chance to experience that part of it. You, because of all of the data collection that's going on in real time, you did happen to capture a phenomenon that I don't think anybody, you know what? You read about it in science fiction, right? You might see it in a TV series, but then to turn around and actually get a moment like that is shocking. Did you even understand what you were looking at?
No, that's the thing. And I think it's okay to mention this. I mean, people really need to go watch the movie because this is a first. I mean, this is the first UFO movie that's been able to capture this type of data. So I think this is the type of film that you want to watch over and over. It's not a romantic comedy. You watch it once. So I really encourage people to get the film. In fact, they can pre-order it now to start to understand how we did all of this. And it's okay to mention what Jimmy's referring to a little bit without, giving it away too much, because part of watching the film is also the discovery. You go along for the ride. But what you're talking about, what Jimmy's talking about, is this phenomenon that we captured towards the end of it was the last day actually, and it's basically what looked like a cloud that opened and closed. And so
let me just jump. It's the title of the film.
yeah, which was funny, because I called called the film A Tear in the Sky 2 years ago. Like I didn't know. I didn't change the title after our discovery or anything like that. So for some reason, I kind of wanted to have something that's coming from the sky. So I called it A Tear in the Sky 2 years ago. And of course, so basically fast forward what we've been talking about, it's something that opens and closes. It's kind of like a tear. It looked like a little bit like a cloud. And again, all sorts of measurements and all sorts of correlations going on. But basically, what's most intriguing is that there are actual objects in there. So what is that?
It's a crazy moment. And here's another part that is fascinating. Kevin Day, who's excellent in the film, who's been on this show, but he's been out making statements about his experience, that week. It just wasn't, one day, but he kept saying it was raining UFOs, right? And that was his thing. It was raining UFOs, and all of us were picturing what he could, what he was trying to say. What is it? What is raining UFOs? And then boom,
it's in the film.
Right? It's in the film. It's I still don't know. Again, everybody just go and watch it so you can understand what we are trying to say here. Now, these objects, and again, A Tear in the Sky is in the name of the film. And visually, well, actually, you manifested it 2 years ago. You didn't even say that you manifested it, but that's what you did. So you did. The objects are there from the vantage point. It's in the movie, but I want to get to more specifics that isn't in the movie. How far away in the triangulation was this tear in the sky, this hole in the clouds?
I think the measurements are in the movie, but I think I want to say 5 kilometers from where we were. We were on the Laguna Beach side. So for people to know, I mean, it's in the trailer too. So we had one team in Laguna Beach and then one team on Catalina Island. and then we had a kind of a mobile team, that would go off so that we achieved 3 points. And so it's the team when we were on the Laguna side. So from the Laguna beach, it's about five kilometers, I think, from where we were. I hope I'm not mistaken, because there's so much data and so many numbers. But it's all in the movie, and it's all like we show how Kevin Knuth actually is the one who shows how he was able to measure the angle, the height, the distance. I mean, it's all there, and the size of the cloud and what it did and the speed. I mean, all of that is very specific in the movie.
Yeah, I'm just going to say this too as well. I came away from the film with this strange desire. I want to hang out with Kevin. Kevin is a cool dude, man. Kevin, spot on the money. So, okay. I want to go back to Kevin Day's and David Fravor's statements about the size of the Tic Tac.
Yes.
And they've been talking about this over and over. And again, it's part of pop culture, right? It's inside of our heads. And, 40 feet, 20 feet in diameter, pill shaped. And these descriptions are there. We've looked at all of the CG and the recreations of it. How close are you to what you saw to the size of what Kevin Day and David Fravor have been reporting?
But that's what was so crazy. The objects that we captured on tape were the exact same size. The range was between 35 and 50 feet, which was the exact same size as the Tic Tacs that Kevin Day and Fravor were talking about. And the Scientific Coalition of UAPs also had done studies on the size and velocity. And they also found that measurement also to be around within that range, 30 to 50 feet. And same with Dr. Knuth's paper. Also, he wrote about that. And this is what we've calculated on the objects in our movie as well. I mean, crazy, right? The objects also, some of them have the exact same shape. I mean.
Now, again, I'm not giving anything away. These are just general questions. Everybody's really going to enjoy the movie. You have this one amazing clear FLIR shot of this Tic Tac shaped object. And is that object, I've seen the film 3 times now, and I can't believe I'm asking this question, but that object from the tear?
No.
That's a separate incident.
That's a separate, yeah. That's, people saw that in the trailer. It looks exactly like the Tic Tac. The Navy Tic Tac travels exactly in the same way against the wind. So that was one, because we captured several things in the film. So this was one event that was separate from the tear.
Incredible. And FLIR is forward-looking infrared. You were capturing on multiple devices. With the tear, what did that look like with full spectrum normal video?
Actually, it was on normal video. And interestingly enough, see, every event had very interesting things that would happen. So in that particular instance, it happened at 3:59 a.m. that tear, and like 2 minutes just before 3:59 a.m., all the FLIR cameras go out. And wait a minute, it's 3:59 a.m. Nobody's there. We're not plugging in anything. Like sometimes you'd have a blackout, like if you're plugging in all of a sudden, because we had the camera crew, we have a lot of lighting. So sometimes we would plug a bunch of stuff and the breakers would go off. You know what I mean? So that would explain why would the power go out suddenly. But at 3:59 a.m., we're all sleeping, actually. No, I mean, Gary was watching we had people watching, but we weren't doing anything. And all of a sudden, two separators, the one that are going to the FLIR cameras, go off at the same time. I mean, turn off.
Coincidence? No.
Yeah, right?
Well, and but my question is, versus the images that were taken of the tear and the objects, how did it look on different imaging systems? I guess that's a better question.
Well, no, it was just the CCD cameras is what I'm saying.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying, because the FLIRs didn't work exactly at that time. The FLIRs captured other objects on different days. So every event, because it's multiple events, multiple things that we've captured. It's not just one thing.
But here's the crazy part. Well, we're going to take a break, but here's the crazy. But all the radiation picked it up.
Yeah, exactly. So we had other correlations. We had other things that happened that were completely wild. Was the radiation, high energy burst of 42 MeV. 42. I mean, the normal is like 2. So 42 MeV is like insane, and it's exactly
it's a crazy spike.
Yeah. So of course we want to look at radiation. So is it possible that this tear happened because of the radiation? Maybe those little things are due to radiation. Maybe we're looking at radiation. Of course, that's the first thing that you speculate on. And so, but of course that wasn't the case, because if it was radiation, it would have happened. So we're looking through a camera, right? And that tear is in one specific spot. If it's radiation, it would be everywhere. Like, it's not going to concentrate in one spot, open and close. You see what I mean? Like, it's not radiation. Also, we thought maybe it's a solar flare, of course. So, we looked at maybe some solar thing would have triggered something. None of that, Don't forget, this was the good thing about working with scientists that were very, very hardcore scientists, don't even mention the word consciousness or anything, nuts and bolts scientists. So in this, because of that, actually, it was a good thing, because they weren't going to look at one thing and say, oh, it's probably this or it's probably that. They're going to look at it and say, well, maybe it's this, let's check this out. You know what I mean? So they're going to go through a very, very rigorous, scientific analysis of the thing before coming to any conclusion. So
you have to look at the atmosphere data. You have to look at
not atmosphere, not clouds, because there's sometimes crystal, the way crystals could form through clouds or whatever could create a hole. Not that, not the sun, not this, not that. What is it?
Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, the one and only Caroline Cory. I am your host, Jimmy Church, talking about the science behind UFO and UAP research. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Caroline Cory and her new film, A Tear in the Sky, after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and this year, June 18th, 2022, the Disclosure Fest Foundation presents the Mass Meditation Initiative. It's Saturday, June 18th from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., one day only at the Los Angeles State Historic Park in downtown Los Angeles, California, right next to Chinatown. I'm hosting the event again this year with music performances by Trevor Hall, The Desert Dwellers, Poran Gi, and many, many more on 4 separate stages. There's 16 stages in total, over 30 acres in downtown Los Angeles, with vendors and tents and presentations and workshops with Billy Carson, Adam Apollo, Lori Spagna, Laura Eisenhower, Brad Olson, David Palmer, and many, many more. It's all simple to do. Just go to disclosurefest.org for all of your tickets, information, and a full schedule of the day's events. Again, disclosurefest.org. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fadernauts, when you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Caroline Cory is with us. Tonight, we're discussing the science that needs to be behind UFO and UAP research. And as I'm waiting for Caroline to come back and join us, there she is. She's right here. Everybody, you don't have to freak out. And hold on, I've got you, Caroline. There you are. And what is the deal with Catalina Island? What is the deal off the coast of San Diego all the way up to Malibu, right? We have that big chunk of coastline where there is UFO and UAP action on a nightly basis. I used to say to people, if you really, there's a few places you can go. You can go to Joshua Tree. you're probably going to see something out there, right? Come out here to the Mojave Desert where I'm at in Palmdale, you're going to see something. Go to Marina Del Rey and look west. Right? You're going. What is it about that area?
Yeah. So I personally believe there's a very strong magnetic anomaly there. And so, in fact, I think you can see it from a map. Like, I think if you look at the magnetic field map, I don't know if I saw it somewhere. Or maybe, no, that's not the map. But I mean, there is a map that I looked at, and you could literally see a very strong concentration of energy there. And it's like the magnetic field kind of goes in and out. And I think that's what's causing all of these sightings.
Are you saying that an extraterrestrial civilization is attracted to that? They would see it like on their radar. Okay, check out this area. Or have they just been there for a long time and that's like their hangout?
I mean, that's my theory, of course. Now we're talking, science is not there yet, but that's my theory. I think the way you're able to travel through space at great distances very quickly is through these magnetic anomalies that are I call them nodes. There are specific points within the magnetic field where it's so strongly charged magnetically that it allows you to kind of move from one point to another instantaneously. I think that's why it looks like they appear and then they disappear. And so, yeah.
No, go ahead.
And so in that particular area, this is where there is a magnetic anomaly, that one of those nodes. And so that's the reason why this is where those ships, we can see those ships right there. And it's not the only place. Like in Utah, there's a few points. They're in off of the coast of Florida. There's everywhere. There are 12 main points around the planet, and then there's like kind of smaller nodes, smaller points as well.
Now, what do you make of is that my phone?
It's mine, and I don't understand because I muted like everything, so I don't know what else to do.
Okay.
What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do airplane mode. There you go. Sorry about that.
You know what happened to me today? Speaking of airplane mode,
yeah.
It's bizarre that you bring this up. I love synchronicities. I swear, I have not said the words airplane mode. I don't. Maybe in my life. Okay, I don't know when I've ever said airplane mode. So today, I update my iPhone. Okay. Update my iPhone all morning. I'm on the phone. I'm taking calls, talking to you. Right. I'm on the phone. And then I do the update. Got a little break in the action. I do the update. No phone calls. And I found that strange. And then next month, there's a reason for this. Next month, I've got a big meeting set up, and I've got to go and do this. And I get a text in from somebody about this meeting going, dude, I keep trying to pick up your phone. I said, you haven't called. And now we're texting, right? Okay. And then FaceTime comes through. That's weird. And his phone calls, I would see, and I couldn't pick them up. Anyway, now let's get to the end of the story. Airplane mode. 2 hours goes by. My phone doesn't ring once. That is an improbability confirmed in science. My phone rings all day long, right? And I go through like 2 hours. I'm like, wow, it's kind of weird. So I go to make a phone call, and it won't dial out. I contact, I'm on Verizon. I contact Verizon, and this is what the rep says to me. Did you do the update? I said, I did. Okay. Go into settings, and go to airplane mode. All of this is on a chat. I can't call Verizon, right? And I said, okay. So I go to I said, airplane mode is off. The rep says, exactly. Turn airplane mode on and off, and dial a phone number. I went, no, it can't be. What? So I turn airplane mode on and off, right? And I call my friend, and the call goes through. And the chat Verizon rep goes, did that work? And I said, it did. Bye. Airplane. So the recent update for iPhones is going to automatically turn on your airplane mode, even though the button is off and you can't dial out or take phone calls.
Yeah, it's weird. But sometimes, like, I don't know if this happened to anyone, and, I hope somebody will say something in the chat, but it happens to me often. Sometimes the TV is off, completely off. And then, like the Netflix things comes on, whatever that, like there's sound that comes out of it, even though it's completely off, or a song on the radio when the radio's off. Has that ever happened to you?
All the time.
Seriously?
All the time.
Crazy.
And
how do you explain that scientifically? Tell me, how do you explain that scientifically?
I'm going to explain it to you scientifically.
Okay.
Those phones and your smart TV and your smart world is always on, and it's all interconnected. Every moment of your day is followed, tracked, logged, and stored, and it's a data point. But here's the thing: when I'll give you an example, especially with Android. Apple's pretty bad with it too. But Android, you log out of your phone, you think you're out of, and Chrome is which is Google, which is Android. So Chrome on your laptop or Chrome on your iPad if you're using Chrome, which I do. All of this is interconnected. So they now know where you are. You don't think you're driving around in your car. You go to the store. All of this comes back. Everything is on all the time. And then you wonder, so you're at the store and you make a purchase and you say something and like, man, I haven't bought Haagen-Dazs in a long time. It's on sale today. And you just verbalize, you say this to your husband or wife. You put the Haagen-Dazs in your cart and you go home and you suddenly see Haagen-Dazs in your feed. Now, you're going to tell me that you're not listening?
Yeah.
Right? And you haven't bought Haagen-Dazs in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
You haven't said the words Haagen-Dazs, but all of a sudden you do the purchase and it pops up in your feed. I am so acclimated to this now, Caroline. Every aspect of our lives is completely logged and done. So yes, your smart TV communicating to your phone, communicating to your car, back to your laptop, and then everything else being tracked in between. It's the world that we live in. I don't think people care anymore.
We know that's the case. It's just funny when it actually happens, like when it looks like, okay, everything's supposed to be off, but then it's just happening on its own, making noise on its own.
I was watching the interrogation of Zuckerberg in the Senate, right? So I was watching this a couple of days ago, and this senator asked Zuckerberg, would you please tell this committee what hotel you stayed in last night? And Zuckerberg goes, I'm uncomfortable sharing that information with you. And he goes, you expect everybody else on Facebook to share it. And they don't want people to know their location or where they're staying at, but you're okay with that and collecting that data and selling it to a hotel, right?
Yeah.
You're okay with that. And Zuckerberg's look, right? And it's the most obvious thing to say.
Yeah.
Right? Zuckerberg doesn't want people to know this.
Yeah.
But he's okay with selling this information that he collects on everybody else, including the hotel you stayed at last night.
Yeah. This is and then also, I mean, there's all this stuff. Why is it so impossible to think that, we could be communicating, energetically as well? In other words, like, if everything is so easily connected, like, could we also be triggering this stuff ourselves? Does that make sense? Like,
are you what the chat just said? Hadley just said, you can turn that off. No, you can't. You may think you're turning it off.
That's what I was saying. The TV is off. It's off. And sometimes, And I think in EVP research, Ben Hansen did a lot of that. Sometimes it's even unplugged, like there's no batteries in the device and it's totally like not even plugged in. How do you, then that's a whole conversation. That's a different conversation. But anyway, let's go back to UFOs.
Well, I used to think it was consciousness, right?
It is consciousness.
No, so one day I go out and I had to drive the coast. I was hosting Coast to Coast, and as everybody knows, I was hosting Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday, right, on the weekends, and never Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? I'm doing Fade to Black on those days, and so I'm going out to the car to get and drive to Coast. I get in my car and my phone beeps, burp, 10 minutes to iHeartRadio, right?
Yeah.
Your drive time. Now, what? And so I thought to myself, no, they don't know that. It's maybe I manifested this thought. It's my consciousness going into the phone, and it's just giving me a helpful drive time tip. But I used to think it was consciousness, not so much anymore. They're just listening to everything all the time. Back to Catalina Island, though.
Yes.
The Department of Defense appears to be very interested in Catalina and the ocean between the Navy bases in San Diego up to Catalina. Of course, we have Point Magoo. And those installations up there with the Navy and the Marines up near Malibu. And I've got friends that live in the area, and I get photographs all the time of these deployments that are out there. And to me, it seems that they are also very interested in the area. And I don't think it's a coincidence with the Nimitz. We only know, and we've had other incidents since then. And are you happy about the data collection and the focus that the military is putting on this area? And do you think that they are going to be sharing what they find?
Yeah. So to answer your first question, the Nimitz was the first incident in 2004, but then there were other ones that we know of. Yeah, of course.
Right.
And then there were other ones, the USS Omaha, the USS Kidd, I believe, or is that
the Kidd?
And then there's a third one, Roosevelt, I know is off of the East Coast, but there's like, especially the USS Omaha, I remember there was swarms of Tic Tacs. Remember that incident in 2015, 2017, and so it's all in the same area. What's going on? Why? And so I know, I mean, that's actually one of the reasons why we decided to go back there as well, because we had the guys from the Nimitz in the movie, but also because it keeps happening in that area. And I think because of that, and I think the more we talk about it and the more we bring out data and the more we push, I think just like this recent 1,000-page report that just came out from the Pentagon, I think the more we push and the more we put out data, the more the government is going to have to do the same, the Navy, and kind of to at least say that, hey, we also know, because to be honest, Jimmy, we're ahead of the game. I mean, who else is out there? Who else is presenting that sort of data?
The answer is nobody. And let me take it one step further. The task force, whatever name it has now, right, has been formed, and they are collecting data. But what is the data, and who is going to analyze it? Are they going to bring in, Kevin Knuth, right, or other outside non-governmental influenced or employed scientists and physicists to look at the data with an independent mind?
Exactly. That's the problem. So I'm sure they've investigated. They've done a lot of investigations, but we don't know anything. They're not sharing it with us. So we can't. We can't trust it. I think that's the reason why I made this movie. It's like, let's go out and do it ourselves and share the data and have a real conversation. And I think because of that, we're going to be forcing more and more the government to put out their own data. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. Do you think that there should be a UAP, a UFO czar, somebody with oversight, right, to see the coordination between the NSA, the CIA, the FBI, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Army, all of the agencies, the FAA, to collect all of this data and to make sure that A, it's retrieved, and second, that it's actually looked at by somebody independent? Should we have an appointed UFO czar?
Of course, absolutely. But who would that be?
Caroline,
if it's a government Caroline Cory. I am honestly the most neutral person out there, because I come from the point of view of consciousness, of understanding the mechanics of life. UFO is not the only subject I'm interested in. And so I'm not partial to anything. I just want to bring out the truth. And so I think, it needs to be, someone or an entity that is absolutely unbiased, and is really just working for the sake of the truth for the people, and so, yeah, if you can figure out who that could be, you can let me know, because as soon as you involve government and even those whatever DOD or NASA or whoever is working on these subjects, right away there's going to be an agenda.
So much focus was put on the UAP task force report that came out June 25th last year. And I remember our conversations about this, and I really wanted your opinion. This was, all off camera. And what you thought about this report. We had such a tremendous buildup, not only inside of the community, but the media built this up too as well. When you finally got the report, you're in the middle of making this movie at that time. What did you think of the report, and did it help support what you were doing with the movie, or did you feel a little disappointed?
Very disappointed, because honestly, there were very credible cases that were studied, and for them to say, hey, we don't have enough data, we don't know anything, it's not this, it's not that, just give us money and we'll tell you more. For me, it's just not good enough. I'm sorry. And so what that did was to encourage me even more to say, that's the best the government can, has to say about this. Well, we're going to go out and do everything we can to bring data, real scientific data, to the public, because obviously they're not capable of, or they won't do it, they won't tell us. So that's what it did to me. It just gave me even more encouragement and confidence that we were on the right track.
Now, what about 2022? Here we are. Today's 420. Happy Pot Day, Caroline, which I think is, by the way, 420 is generating a lot of the chat tonight. A lot of physics in there. I see that, and a lot of pizza and food talk. So I think there's a lot of 420 going on. What about here we are, April 20th. We're getting out of the first quarter. And there are certain things that are supposed to happen this year, not only with the task force. We got 2 reports that are going to be coming out that are public. We've got a classified version of that report coming out. And we have the Senate Intelligence Committee with oversight on this report to make sure that the data is collected. What do you think that is going to be in the report? Is it going to be another version of what we had last year in June, or do you expect more?
I think it's people are going to see. I think they're going to see what else is out there. We also have, I don't want to speak for other organizations, but, we're going to continue with this data collection and analysis. We're already ahead of the game. We're the first ones to make it public. No, I didn't say to do it, but to make it public. So
Right.
we're going to keep at it. And so I think that whatever report is coming out is going to depend on how much ahead of the game we are. Because if we are putting out data that is validating the fact that this is a real phenomenon, these are UFOs that do this and act like this and behave like this or whatever, then they're going to have, their report is going to have to say something similar or better. Does that make sense? You can't have leading scientists. These are the scientists that the government uses, So these are top-notch scientists that are analyzing the data. So they can't go back and say, no, it's some guy, that's crazy in his garage imagining things. And so I think what we're doing is, to be honest, I don't know if I'm totally imagining this, but I think it's going to affect the reports that are coming up.
Yeah, there's and we'll pick up on this when we come back. But the one missing element with this, that's why I'm excited about your work and the efforts that you're spearheading with those around you. But Avi Loeb and Harvard and other scientists out there that are coming in from the civilian sector, because that is what has been missing with all of the chatter that is going down inside of the Pentagon and on Capitol Hill. What's missing? Us, the civilian element to all of this. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Caroline Cory is with us. We've been talking about her new film. It is called A Tear in the Sky. We've got the links up in social media. It premieres on May 3rd. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, the X.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? Onyx Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNX-DB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unxmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unxmedia.com.
Life Change Tea has a great offer for you right now. The 3-pack special. Save $15 on their popular flavor pack of Super Tea. Get all 3 flavors, original, peppermint, and pomegranate. Life Change Tea tastes great. It's an all-natural, gentle cleanse with a unique blend of 12 herbs that helps keep your digestive tract clean, clear, and healthy. And it's so easy to make. Just brew, steep, refrigerate, and drink. Serve hot or cold. And 1 to 2 servings a day is all you need. You take care of the outside. Do the same for your inside. Life Change Tea is made right here in the United States and helps thousands feel their best. It's an important part of any daily routine. So go to getthetea.com/F2B. That's getthetea.com/F2B. That's getthetea.com/F2B.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of Forbidden Knowledge, and we're heading to Egypt this October. Come join Jimmy Church, myself, and the Forbidden Knowledge team as we spend a week exploring Giza, the Great Sphinx, the Great Pyramid, Saqqara, Dashur, Aswan, Edfu, Dendara, Karnak, and we'll celebrate Jimmy's birthday in Luxor. The Forbidden Tour of Egypt is this October 5th through the 12th and includes a 4-day Nile cruise, expert Egyptologists, and a chance to explore Egypt with Jimmy and I as your host through your journey of a lifetime. Space is limited, so make your reservations now. Please visit forbiddenknowledge.com for information and complete itinerary. That's forbiddenknowledge.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and this year, June 18th, 2022, the Disclosure Fest Foundation presents the Mass Meditation Initiative. It's Saturday, June 18th from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., one day only at the Los Angeles State Historic Park in downtown Los Angeles, California, right next to Chinatown. I'm hosting the event again this year with music performances by Trevor Hall, The Desert Dwellers, Poranki, and many, many more on 4 separate stages. There's 16 stages in total, over 30 acres in downtown Los Angeles, with vendors and tents and presentations and workshops with Billy Carson, Adam Apollo, Lori Spagna, Laura Eisenhower, Brad Olson, David Palmer, and many, many more. It's all simple to do. Just go to disclosurefest.org for all of your tickets, information, and a full schedule of the day's events. Again, disclosurefest.org.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony. Damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
All right, welcome back. It says Fade to Black, our guest tonight, Caroline Cory. I was hanging out in social media during the break, and it's so funny. I can't get the last text in. I can't get the last post in, and I'm hearing the music wind down, and then I do a typo, and then I got to. Oh man! Excuse me. A Tear in the Sky. You can pre-order it. We've got it up in social media, but you can also visit tearinthesky.com. Before the break, Caroline, I was bringing up the civilian element to all of this because I feel that Gillibrand, Rubio, and the rest of the Senate Intelligence Committee, they're getting a one-sided view of this, and I'm not so sure they're even hearing what they want to hear. Like, they are getting a filtered version of things coming at them. They can ask all the questions that they want, but they're not going to get straight answers. And I don't know this as fact, but I know that is what is going on. If they brought in civilian researchers, bring in MUFON in the very least, and get people up there like yourself. Bring me in. I'll talk and get that side of it. Do you think that is possible, that we will actually have hearings on Capitol Hill, hearing from others outside of the Department of Defense?
One of these days, it's going to have to happen. I think we're getting there, though. I mean, it's very, very exciting what's been happening. Just in the span of 2 years, we've had the UAP report. Then we had this other report, like with not even within a year, right? This 1,000-page, 1,500-page report. We have 2 more coming up. So I mean, it's like it's picking up momentum. It's bound to happen, I think. That's why we have the civilians. Like we have to just keep going and keep putting this stuff out there, and all the scientists need to be talking about it, so that's what needs to happen.
Well, I wonder if they would take my phone calls. I'm talking about the Senate or Congress. Would they take your phone calls? In years past, you're the crazy UFO lady that talks on late night talk radio, right? And if you know what I mean. But today, is the environment changed enough that they would take our phone calls, and it would be possible to sit down with some staffers and not necessarily in public, but they would listen to what we have to say.
Yeah, I mean, this has happened already in bits and pieces here and there, but I think within a year or so, I bet we're going to start seeing something like this, because it's just really picking up momentum. It's really, and now also with other, like I said, organizations doing their piece as well. I think we're definitely getting there, and it's exciting. But at the same time, we talk about this, and at the same time, and that's how I feel, at the same time, we shouldn't wait for this disclosure thing from the government. I think we should just keep going and have them catch up with us,
Well, here's the question. Okay, so you get the invite, right? You get the invite. And Caroline's going to Washington, D.C., and you sit down, and you have the opportunity to push something across the table. You got one crack at it. What is the one thing that you want them to know or see?
This movie, hello. No, seriously, this is the first movie. This is the first movie that is showing how you conduct a UFO investigation scientifically, and how you go at it and how you collect data. And at the end of the film, you have evidence that this is a real phenomenon. There are anomalous objects flying around. We know some of their properties. We're going to know more of their properties. And it's an important discussion to have. That, at the end of you saw the movie. So, I mean, if you were a politician, you be a politician for a second.
I will. Okay.
Yeah. So you saw the movie. What would you say? What would you think?
I would look right at you and go, okay, what is this terror in the sky? I don't know what I'm looking at. I saw it, but I don't understand it. What happened? And then my next question to you would be, did you send this to the Navy? Did you send this UAP task force? And what did they have to say? And have they been seeing the exact same thing? That's what I would ask you.
Yeah. So I think the data is going to be put out, after the movie's out. The rest of the data, like I said, because the movie has a certain number. I mean, it's an hour-and-a-half movie. We can't, So plus it's a story. It's the story of how we did it, So, but the actual data is going to be shared publicly. Like I said, the scientists are putting out this paper. They're doing presentations. So it is going to be, I don't know if they're specifically want to send it to the Navy. I don't know what they want to do with it, but it's definitely going to be out there. And so I think if the Navy is really serious about investigating the subject, they're going to want to see it. They're going to want to talk to the scientists for sure.
Have you sent this to, and now I'm still the politician. I'm Marco Rubio. Right? I'm sitting on the desk. Have you sent this to Chris Mellon and Lou Elizondo? And what did they think of the film?
Actually, Chris Mellon, I think he kind of didn't want to comment because I don't know. I guess he didn't want to comment. And Lou, well, yeah. I mean, it's. I think they will. Yeah, I don't know. They will comment on their own if they want to.
That's not the answer you give in the Senate chambers. So
yeah,
let me.
I'm sorry, I forgot your Rubio. Yeah, that's right.
The question was, did you send it to them? And the answer would be yes.
I didn't, but yeah.
Do you want me to send it to them?
I don't think it's necessary. They're going to see it. They're going to see it. Don't worry. They will see it.
I'm very curious.
But the question is, what are they going to do with it? That's not.
What are they going to do? You know, they need to take Act 3, right?
Yeah.
3 of the film, and get that to the Senate Intelligence Committee and the UAP task force, like stat, like now.
Yeah. Well, so I think that's what, I'm going to let the group AUAPX, they're going to put out this information. They have plans. I don't know, but this information is going to be public. So if I were a politician, I would be having some meetings with those guys.
Next, Avi Loeb. Has he seen the film?
I'm sure. I'm sure he's very interested. I don't know what, I'm sure he's, he has his own plans. I'm sure.
I love watching you do the dance. See, this is the thing. This is exactly what they need to see.
I know.
This is the data collection, exactly how Avi has framed it on how he wants to do this. He wants to do this with automated systems. He wants to do this full spectrum with FLIR. He wants to capture telemetry, atmospheric data, radiation points. These are all the things that he is interested in for the Galileo project that is actively being funded right now.
Exactly. Why don't we invite him to the show? And then we'll have a conversation, you, me, and him.
I can bring him in right now. You want me to bring him in right now? I actually want to talk about that just a little bit. It's not, I see this as a multi-pronged approach. It's science, it's the civilian community, it's astronomers, it's exoplanets, it's the media, it's ancient aliens, it's the Department of Defense, it is the Senate Intelligence Committee. So shows like this, right? It is a multi-pronged approach. Avi has taken a very courageous step in publishing the book Extraterrestrial, getting the support of Harvard, and going against the grain of the scientific community. Right? How important is that for your efforts to have Avi Loeb, walking next to you?
Yeah, I mean, he's not really walking next to me, like doing exactly what we're doing, but kind of, yeah, sort of. And he's surrounded himself with a lot of scientists, mainstream scientists, as well. So I think his approach is also very scientific, and on a grand scale. The way he's going at it is slightly different than what we did, but it's going to be amazing, incredible. And the more people like that, the more projects like that we have, the more, we civilians, we're pushing the envelopes. We are ahead of the game. So it just adds to the validation of what we've done. Like Avi Loeb, of Harvard is doing what we're doing, So it's amazing. I think we should do even more things together. That's what I was saying in the beginning of the show.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, and this goes right back to what you did in this film. You guys were there before, right? You are there prepared to capture it, right? With Oumuamua, that was the big disappointment, not only for Avi, but for the rest of the astrophysicists and astronomers out there. They missed it, right? They caught it mid-flight, and then they just saw the taillights, right, as it's leaving. They missed it. That's what Avi doesn't want to do. You've got to get it in the beginning. You've got to get the imaging. You've got to do everything else. You got to point radio telescopes at it. What if it's emitting radio signals, right? What if there's communication coming? They missed that opportunity completely. You are doing it in front of the curve. You're waiting for it to happen. And I think that's the lesson that Avi learned with Oumuamua. We had the object there, but we caught it late. You're there before it happens, Caroline.
Exactly. And so I'm hoping that next time he'll be there before it happens. And during when it happens. So yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Like kind of we can feed off of each other, whatever we've done, they can help them out. Whatever they're going to be doing is going to help us out. So yeah, they have technology. I'm sure that's going to be very advanced. And so that's what's happening right now is incredible. I think we're really, really, really changing history.
Well, okay. Now I'm going to ask you to speculate just a little bit, but with all the talk of wormholes or stargates, vortexes opening, it appears that for the first time you have actually captured this. And if we go back to that moment, what was there first? Was it just, and I'm talking about the radiation readings, was that a blank sky or a blank canvas? And then the radiation started at that specific point?
No, it looked like, because we had images from like the same spot for days. So it's not like, so we had a control, if you will. And so just before it looked like a cluster. People will see that in the movie. It looked like a darkening in one particular spot. And then all of a sudden, like it opens and then there's physical objects there, and then it closes. And then it goes away. So it's like, so we have the before when there's nothing at all. Then at one point there is a spot that's dark, and then this whole thing happens, and then it goes away.
But what I'm wondering is, when we talk about wormholes or even Einstein's theories on this, the possibility of this, the bridge forming, that would be a high concentration of energy, no matter what. And you measured it there. You got the spike in the radiation. Is this something that would be repeatable and something that other scientists can look for in the future? In that, that's a wormhole forming, and here's the data that supports this, and then you can look at that area and maybe expect something.
That's the idea. That's why this is so important. This film is so important. We're just scratching the surface here. We're not claiming it's a wormhole or this or that. We're saying, what is that? It's something that nobody can explain scientifically. And so that's the idea. We started a very important conversation for the purpose of going back and make it repeatable, whether it's in this location or somewhere else's location. So whatever we learned from this phenomenon, that it moves this way, that it's, it could be, you know what I mean? Like whatever we learn from it, can that be duplicated? Could that be repeated? Could that be photographed? What other instruments should we be bringing next time? And then knowing that there could be interference and the power could go off for no reason whatsoever, what else could we be doing? So that's the idea. There's definitely a follow-up here, by the way.
Do you think, again, this is speculation, but you're the one that shot the film and has reviewed the data. Do you think that these visitors, and that's what I think happened, were the same visitors with the Nimitz, in that they are interested in this planet? This is the same extraterrestrial civilization, and they're coming back and hanging out with us? Or could it be another planet? right? Where we've got 40 billion Earth-like planets in the Milky Way that could have life on it. It may not even be from the same part of the Milky Way.
Yeah, so from a measurable point of view, the common denominators with the Tic Tacs, the ones that were observed before, was that the size of these objects was the same. The objects that came out of this hole were also 35 feet, the same size, and so that's the only common denominator. But in terms of who are they the same? You know, that's a speculation, total speculation. And I believe this is totally speculating, right? Because nothing we are proving or anything. I feel that just because we were in that particular location and there was so many like common threads to everything that we've captured, even though sometimes it looked like a wormhole, sometimes it looked like a raining thing, sometimes, you know, it was like all kind of similar patterns. I want to say it's a similar intelligence that's in that area. Does that mean it's the only intelligence? No, it means that whatever's triggering these events is probably the same intelligence behind it.
What I'm interested in, and I know that this data exists, that the Nimitz and that group, the battle group, with the radar data that they had and what they observed, and this is from Kevin Day directly, that this started at around 80,000 feet. Okay, now what did they see at 80,000 feet? Was there some activity, a tear in the sky, right? Was there something that happened there? And the reason why that would be interesting to look at, if it was something that entered through our atmosphere traditionally in an analog sense, we would have tremendous heat signatures. We know what happens when the space shuttle or a space capsule re-enters the atmosphere and the tremendous amount of heat that is there. And quite honestly, we could see it. We could observe it. And I don't think that any of that happened. So did these Tic Tacs from the Nimitz appear at 80,000 feet through the same tear in the sky that you guys captured?
You know, first of all, it's a great question, but I read something or someone told me that there was a report where so it's not an official part, it's not part of an official report, but I have to, so now I'm just like talking out of memory right now, so I apologize, but I believe that there was some sort of investigation around that, and they're trying to figure out, because they did see some sort of what I call a magnetic anomaly or some sort of something that happened before they saw the object. I have to find that article or that report that I am referring to and send it to you. But someone is investigating that possibility. That would be crazy. That would be insane.
Yeah, that data has to be there. In other words, I would bet the farm that if something came in, when I say analog, the traditional sense, it's an asteroid, it's a meteor, it's a comet, it's a Soyuz spacecraft, it's a space shuttle, it's a satellite crashing to Earth, whatever it is, it lights up in the atmosphere, right? There's a tremendous friction and heat and flame and burning. We would have observed that all over the place. There would have been different observatories, amateur astronomers, people looking to the sky, stopping with their cell phones. It would have been observed. It wasn't, right? So how did they get there? And did the Navy know this? That's the part to the puzzle we don't know about.
Well, actually, I want to say something that we don't necessarily observe it with the naked eye, because this opening, and I've seen actually other people have been sending me very similar things now that they are seeing what the movie's about.
Right.
Those openings happen within seconds.
Oh, I'm not talking about that. No, I'm referring to if the Tic Tacs or your if the Tic Tac at 80,000 feet entered our atmosphere in a traditional sense, we would have seen that.
Oh,
and
right.
And reported. It wasn't. Therefore, right? And did the Navy capture this data? That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah. I mean, you would think so, right? How could they not?
Why do you think they grabbed those hard drives?
Yeah, I know. I mean, and you saw it. It's like, why would they take these hard drives? Like, that's crazy. And make them erase it. Isn't that the purpose of hard drive?
Right. And Caroline, can I keep you for another segment?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. What I want to do, and I want to go deep with this when we come back, with starseeds, with the other side of this phenomena that you have been researching. Is there a way to tie that in to get communication going, to find out what the Tic Tacs are, to find out what you've captured? Now, I want you to think about that, and we'll talk about that when we come back. When I hear the light language and I hear it spoken, this is the strange thing for me. I thought, and like anybody else that would hear it for the first time, that this was a language as we understand it, like you and I are speaking right now, right? That we understand. And that I feel, and we can talk about this when we come back, it's more of a vibration. It's more of a feeling. It's like notes in a song, right? Where that is, and the translation of that is like looking at a color wave or looking at a light wave.
I was going to say light wave.
Right. And so is there a way to incorporate that into what you just captured in this film, and could it help you get some of those answers? So think about that. I'm very curious. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Caroline Cory is with us, and we are talking about the science, the research that goes into UFOs and UAPs. We're going into overtime next with Caroline. You can go to aterrainthesky.com to pre-order the film. We've got it up in Twitter and social media right now. It's also in the links in the description box below. This is Fade to Black. I'm yours, Jimmy Church. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv is the fastest growing and one of the most watched networks in the world. I would like to personally invite you to check out our expanding library of TV, film, lectures, and special presentations. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv has over 6,000 videos covering lost history, health, UFOs, spirituality, and our future. We are committed to our community, and with my personal invitation, you can, right now, get your free 30-day membership at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Your own library of information starts today at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, the X.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? Onyx Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNX-DB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unxmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unxmedia.com.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right. 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JamieChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, our guest is Caroline Cory. We've been talking about her new film. It is called A Tear in the Sky. Premieres May 3rd. We've got the links up in social media. You can go and check that out. Also visit CarolineCory.com. All of her films are there. And right before the break, Caroline, I was talking about pulling in your network, your community, and reaching out to them to have them analyze what you've captured.
Yeah, so we'll see how that data is going to be put out in the public, and how it's going to be analyzed even more than what we were able to do in the movie. I mean, the movie is an hour and a half. And by the way, I really think everybody should get this movie. They should get it now. They should be the first ones to, to really look into this stuff, because it's really never been done this way before. And this is the kind of movie you want to watch again and again to really kind of get your mind around it, especially, and I think that was the question you asked before the break about the communication. And so this is also a first in any movie, actually. And, we were talking about communication with consciousness, but I also wanted to share something that we've done in the movie, thanks to David Mason's inventions. And this is, these are instruments, because to me, communication is light. And it's funny that we call it light language, isn't it?
Yes.
But it's not just light language, it's literally light. If you can look at it as light waves, and light is information. So what happens is that sometimes you wonder when these UFOs are emitting the throbbing, they're emitting some sort of pulsation, they're emitting light. The idea is, could it be that because obviously they know where they're going? I mean, they're just hovering. They're not necessarily using it as a mode of motion to know where they're going or to see what's in front of them, like we have spotlights or something. When they're just hanging there and just like throbbing, is it possible that they could be emitting some sort of signal, some sort of communication pattern? And so, other than the consciousness subject in the movie, we actually have David Mason's devices and instruments that are capable of capturing these light patterns. So you're looking at, with the night vision, right? You're looking at this UFO object and it's throbbing, right? It's pulsating. And through a device, this is his invention, it's an original invention. So, and through this device, you capture the light that you're looking at, and it converts it into a sound. So if you do that over and over, you can eventually decode what this pattern is and see if it's actually a mode of communication.
I actually converted that and listened to it, and you know what it said? We listened to Fade to Black. But here's another way to look at it. Could you? Okay, so let's say that they're saying hello in their language.
Yes.
And then you turn around and capture the light wave and beam that back to them.
Yes, exactly.
And then you say hello back.
Yes.
Or it could be saying, we're here to, take your children. And then you beam back. Well, we're going to take yours. But is there a way, is he working on that type of idea? I love the sound conversion. That is really great. It reminds me of Mars Attacks. Remember, they do the translation, wah, wah, and but converting it to sound waves is a great approach. But did you guys talk about beaming back the same light?
Yeah, exactly. That's the idea. So then he's got a machine and a device. People can watch the way it's explained in the movie. I mean, I'm telling you, this movie is like
I know
next level. But
really
anyway,
cool.
So they can see that invention, and then it converts it back into a signal that goes back to the source that emitted it. So it's like, so it goes back, whatever message you receive converts it into sound, and it goes back to that source. And so, the idea, so what we did in the movie is demonstrate that for the first time. But what if we can do this over and over and correlate it with an actual object, and then of course repeated, so that we can capture enough light patterns to eventually decode whatever those patterns are. Now we are understanding the communication patterns of UFOs. And even if it's not communication like, hello, we're here to visit you, not that sort of communication, maybe it's just the vehicle itself. Like maybe it gives us information about the vehicle itself. So in other words, we can't expect always that it has to be like a language, like a message, we come in peace, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm saying is, this is data. It's a pattern of information, light patterns, that is data coming out of this anomalous object. Very valuable. Extremely valuable.
Now, and going back to where I was headed with this originally, what about giving this data to light workers and have them do their interpolation? I've said interpolation twice in the same show.
Interpretation.
I think interpolate would be better than. No, I think interpolate's the right word. In handing this over to the light worker community that would hear and see this differently.
Exactly. So that's from a device technological point of view, which is, again, to me, that's like totally next level. But now from a consciousness point of view, you have all the CE5, all this type of communication trying to happen. And then, so the people who speak in light language, they are actually capturing some sort of sound and emitting it through voice. In other words, it's kind of the same thing, except it's not a device. They're using their consciousness to pick up that pattern, and then they're just transmitting it back, just like that device did. Whatever it receives, it transmits it back. It transmits it. So they're transmitting it back and just allowing the vocal cord to just do whatever. And it comes out in a weird language. And so, I mean, I've seen that happen so many times, in like so many different ways, that it's fascinating. And it's like sounds. Go ahead.
Now, are you able to yourself personally to translate a light language? Can you understand it and then translate it yourself?
Yeah. So this is kind of going back to the story when I was 5 years old. So this is actually how telepathy works. You're not. So sometimes if you're communicating with an entity that's not from Earth, or so it's not like they speak English or French or Chinese. It's not like that. Or even if you're telepathically communicating with somebody who doesn't speak your language, so it's not a human language. It's a thought. It's a pattern, and that pattern is in the form of light. It's a light pattern. It's a light wave that went from this being's consciousness to your consciousness. And when it enters your consciousness, your brain knows how to decode it, because we're talking consciousness now. We're not talking a device. Knows how to decode it and translate it into a language or an understanding, something that you understand. So it's kind of like a zip drive. So if I'm telepathically communicating with you, I'm going to send you a zip drive, whether I understand your language or not. But then if you look at the zip drive, you don't know what's in it, right? Mm-hmm. But then once the zip drive is in your brain, it unzips in the language that you speak, and the language that I speak, the Chinese language that they speak, if that makes sense. So the light language is kind of the medium that is common to all of intelligent life.
So I'm speaking about you specifically, because I've seen translators of light action in action in real time. It's fascinating to see this go down. Do you when you're listening, you've done right? So you've got this starseed, this child, this adult speaking light language. Are you translating in real time, Caroline?
Yes, Cory? I am. And also I wanted to show, I don't know if I can show it to you, but I also write it.
What?
I write it. Yeah. And it's not human language.
Wait a minute. Yes. Have I seen you do this before?
I don't know, but I'm trying. I'm going to create. I actually have here. I have some. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see?
Yeah, put it up to the camera. It's got to go closer to the camera. No, we can't see it.
Oh, shoot. It's covering me. Yeah. Maybe here. Hold on.
You know what?
You see a little bit.
Okay, hold on a minute. I'll get it up on the screen. Text it to me. Text it to me. I'll get it up on the screen.
Yeah. So this is just like, I don't know, it just kind of, so this is now this is, a lot of people are going to think it's so totally crazy, but I don't care.
I don't think it's crazy at all.
Yeah.
I
But
love
anyway, all right. So I just texted it. So so what happens is that sometimes so message comes or information comes as a light, but then it comes out in writing or speaking.
I'm pulling it up now. Okay, here it is.
This is crazy now.
No, it hasn't come in yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, you know
Okay.
what? Because I'm in airplane mode. Speaking of airplane mode, that's hilarious. Anyway, yeah, keep going. Let's keep going.
Well, but I've seen people write light language down too as well, and there is a phenomena here that is going on. And when we have, it's not a dozen people. We're talking about thousands, maybe millions of people that are able to do this.
Yes.
And it's not, I don't think, it's some kind of psychosis. They've got some kind of disorder. It's some kind of No, it's not.
Yeah.
And we're talking about some very normal people that one day something comes out of their mouth and they're wondering what's going on with themselves too. Then they are able to practice and go back and repeat this and go to it. I think it's purely vibrational. It is light. It is a wave. It's a frequency that's coming through and is spoken. Okay, here it is.
I want to say something. I want to say something. A lot of people who thinks it's totally crazy, like we are crazy right now. First of all, there are so many crazy people that are doing crazy things that even if you don't believe it's enough people to at least make you wonder, make you at least be curious how this could be possible. So that's number one. And second, how many people thought Galileo was crazy, or like we thought the earth was flat, or this and that? At the time they're like, oh my God, he needs to be put in jail, burned at the stake, at stakes, like, so now we're the ones being crazy. But you'll see in like 10 years, 20 years, 50 years from now, we're going to be like the geniuses, I think. Because it's like consciousness. Ooh, wow. It's like, oh my God, consciousness. It's so scary.
Okay. Let me find. Okay, I've got it right here. And just so I can find it easier, just let me rename this. And then I'm going to pop this up on the screen, everybody.
Oh, you can show it like this, no?
Let's see. Oh, I might. Let's see. I don't know if let's see. Let me see. Let me. Let me see. I don't know if I can import this as a slide.
Just show it on your phone. See if it's probably better, because I have the green screen that's acting up like crazy, but probably.
Yeah, this isn't. Nope, invalid file type. Okay.
Never mind.
Yeah, no, it's okay. This is it, everybody. I'm going to hold it up to the screen.
Oh yeah, we can see. We can see crazy stuff. Oh my God.
What does this say?
Speaking of science, right? People are gonna go like, how do you go from science to this? Go figure. This is science of the future. It's divine wisdom. It's like the history, kind of like the history of humanity, like
wow,
kind of. Anyway, let's keep going.
No, I love this. And how, okay, just really quick. This is in columns.
Yes.
And why is it in columns? Is it written from top to bottom?
No, actually, I think I was writing. Yeah, I was writing like this, top to bottom. Yeah. and then like next column and next column.
Do you know what the headers are on each column?
So I don't know, like, so I don't know this language. In other words, like these aren't letters necessarily, it's not like ABC, whatever. It's kind of like the kanji in Japanese, or Chinese, the hiragana, those types of things. And so it's more of so for those, because I speak Japanese too, actually. So those symbols, those characters mean, sometimes it's one character that means an entire word.
Sure.
So it's a little bit like that. And so and then like one whole section, it's a whole chapter, if you will. It's like condensed.
How when you write this, or anybody else that is doing this, are you in a meditative state? Are you fully conscious? Are you wide awake?
Well, now I've been doing meditation like my whole life. So I mean, It doesn't take me forever to kind of be in that state of alignment. So it's more of a intentional thing. And then I can pretty much, but it's kind of like what you were saying, the people who speak the language, it just comes out of them. And it's like, what just happened here? It's a little bit like that. Like, I don't really force it. I don't look for it. It just like happens sometimes.
And how quickly, I'm just going to show it to everybody again. I'm fascinated with this. How quickly do you do this? When I was a kid, and I've talked about this a lot on the air, Caroline, my mom used to do automatic writing.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and when I'm 5, I'm 6, I'm 7 years old. I'm a kid. I can't even see on top of the table, right? And I see my mom with a stack of paper and a pen, and us kids are going to bed. She's just starting her evening. Okay. And I would watch her do this. She would look up to the ceiling and she would write, right? She would never look at the pen. And I'd get up in the morning to go to school, and that stack of paper is flipped over, right? She did a ream of paper overnight. And I asked her, Caroline, I'm like, my mom, what's up? I'm just a little kid, Caroline. What are you doing? I don't know. What'd you write? Don't know. You don't know. No, it's automatic writing. And so later on,
your mom, that's amazing.
Yeah. I watched her do this all the time. So later on, now my mom is 80, right? I'm on the phone with her. And I said, hey, Mom, what about that automatic writing stuff? Oh, that was then. Now, so when I saw her do this, if I'm 5, she was 25, right? She's a kid. She's 25, 26, 27 years old. She's a kid doing this. And so I said, no, but Mom, you remember the Edgar Cayce books and this and the Ouija board? Nah. That was then. I don't do that stuff now. Mom, I want to know, you want to come on the show and talk about this, because it freaked me out. I loved it when I was a kid. You were the cool mom. No. Not too bad. I wanted to get the answers out of her, Caroline. What is it that you were writing? What is it that you were interested in? What were you asking? How were you connecting? You're channeling something in, right? But no, she absolutely closed me down.
Yeah, it's interesting. And, the more we talk about this, the more people come out, and say, oh, I remember one time I was lying in bed and I felt a presence. And, like everybody's had some sort of weird experience. Even the most skeptics, even the most whatever, they've had some sort of something, some weird synchronicity, or they sense something, or blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I mean, this, whatever is happening, it's to me, and I think that's my role in filmmaking, is all of these subjects that we call paranormal. I am trying to make them normal, because they're way too widespread, very, very common. 99% of the population is experiencing some sort of anomaly that cannot be explained scientifically. So why not look into it seriously and see what that is about? And so everything that you described, I think my grandmother used to see angels. You know, since she used to say, "Oh, I see the angels and I'm talking to them." You know, a lot of children have invisible friends, you know. So I mean, there's something out there. We just need to understand it better. So I'm sorry that your mom kind of gave it up. That's like
me
so
down, and
cool.
she shut me down, man. It was like boom. And this is what I love, and I hear this so often. So 30-year-old, 40-year-old son or daughter is sitting with their 50, 60-year-old mom, and they're watching Ancient Aliens, whatever, right? They're watching a tear in the sky, and mom goes, "Yeah, I saw a UFO once." What?
Yes.
You never told me about that. I kind of forgot about it, but yeah, it was pretty cool. The aliens came off the ship and they came up and they gave me my tuna casserole recipe, and that's what we eat. What do you mean? You never told me this, right? And no, me. It was me. It was your Aunt Betty, and we were all out in the backyard, and the flying saucer was there. And it never gets talked about. And a lot of it, like you're saying, it gets forgotten.
Forgotten.
Right? It's something in your deep past. And I ask everybody, just go back and think about, did you forget about something strange that happened? Whatever it is, you know, you didn't mention it to your friends, you didn't mention it to your family members, and one day turns into a week, turns into 20 years. You put it on a shelf and you forgot about it. Go back and think about those crazy things and see if you can pull it back, and let's talk about it. And I know it's exactly what you're saying. I think everybody has it. They just don't remember it because they've never talked about it, and they moved on with life, Caroline. And there's other things that are going on today, and it just gets pushed further and further back. But the more that shows like this and films like yours, they start to stimulate the thought process and conversation.
Yeah, you know, my last film especially, I get every day, like, I don't know how many emails and DMs and messages and, you know, from random people. And I'm talking lawyers, doctors, judges, politicians, mayors, like police officers, like random people saying, "I just watched your film and I just wanted to tell you that I wasn't a believer, but when I watched it, I remembered something that happened to me, blah, blah, blah." And it made me think of it. And now I realize, da, 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 da. I mean, I was a believer, but I wasn't sure. And it reminded me of this and this and that. So that's the thing, is like when you stop talking about it, it's like there's no conversation. But the more we put it out there, the more people bring it out. And why is that important? I mean, it's important because it's part of your life. I mean, it's a phenomenon that happens to you. You know, it's like, wait, how is that possible? That, especially, that's one that almost everyone tells me. A deceased parent, usually the father or the mother, whatever, dies, and the next day they show up telling them, "I'm okay." You know, this is like so common. I hear so many times. And then another thing, another kind of sad thing, is not that you just forget, but speaking of scientists, a lot of scientists I work with, and so we'd be doing whatever experiment or whatever filming, and then as soon as we are off camera, they tell me all these crazy stories, like they saw a spaceship or they think they were abducted, and I'm like, wait, why didn't you say it on camera? You know, it's like, so and this is the other side of the coin, is like some people actually know it to be true and just won't talk about it. So
yeah, like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Caroline, thank you so much. The film, everybody, is A Tear in the Sky. The premiere is May 3rd. We've got the links up in social media. We've got all the links to Caroline's films and her websites over at jimmychurchradio.com and throughout social media. Caroline, congratulations. Good luck on the premiere. And I look forward to our next conversation, which Caroline and I already know when this is going to be. But we'll announce that later.
Let's send it telepathically.
You read my mind. Caroline, behave and be well. Thank you so much. Great show tonight.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Caroline Cory. Caroline, thank you so much. This is Fade to Black. Tomorrow night, want to remind everybody, tomorrow night is Fader night. We've got this new setup going on in here. Hopefully, it'll be smooth. Caroline Cory, all of our websites are over at jimmychurchradio.com. We've got everything up in social media. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Viteau, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. And this broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2022 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black of the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll see all of you tomorrow night for Fader Night. It's open lines all night long. Until then, I want you to be safe. It's time to fade to black.